and welcome to Access UTV. My name's Michelle Edhouse and we're back on the topic of parenting today. So what I would like to ask you is, are you willing to be a bad parent? Now, this is something that I really struggled with, and what I'd like you to look at here is how many different definitions of what a bad parent is there on this planet. Does bad parent depend on your religion? Does it depend on your ethnicity? Does it depend on what you grew up with? Does it depend on who you hang out with? Does it depend on who you married? Or didn't marry for that matter. So what I'd like to offer to you is that, what if there is no right and no wrong? And what if you were willing to be a bad parent in everyone's eyes, including your own? So let's start off with, how many decisions, judgments, conclusions, computations, projections, expectations, and separations have you got with regards to parenting? And what's a good parent and what's a bad parent? And everything that is, times a godzillion, will you destroy and uncreate it, please? Thank you. Right and wrong, good and bad, pod and pock, all nine, boys, shorts, and beyonds. Now, that is something I run so often and have been running for the last 8 years that we've been doing Access classes and using the Access tools. I used to have people say to me, wow, you're such a good mum. And I could never receive it because I didn't meet my judgments of what a good mum should be. And those judgments I'd bought from all sorts of different places. They'd come together in this giant, great melting pot, which basically ended up meaning that I could never, ever, no matter what I chose, no matter how I behaved, no matter what I did, I could never be a good mum in my own eyes. And so what does not being able to be a bad mum or a bad parent actually create in your life, in the way you parent? It creates a space where you're constantly checking on yourself, you're constantly judging yourself, you're constantly having to prove that you are right or wrong or good or bad or something, instead of just being able to be you, being able to perceive, know, be and receive what's required for your child and for you in that 10 seconds, and be that, do that, whatever that is. So what I'd love to invite you to is a place where you look at everything and go, wow, if I was being a bad parent right now, what would I choose? And then when you get the awareness of that, ask, what would that create? And it may actually create exactly the result you're looking to create. Whether that is absolutely nutting off at your children to get their attention, to get them to actually look at what their behaviour is. Or whether, as this very cool picture I found one day has, it means taping your baby with duct tape to the wall so they can't move and you can get whatever you need to get done. Whatever that looks like, are you willing to be it? Now, when I say being a bad parent, I'm not talking about abuse. I'm not talking about hurting your child, killing your child, whatever that is. I'm talking about going beyond the judgments of what's good and bad as a parent, and choosing what will create the greatest for you and your child. It's choosing from the kingdom of we, the choice to create whatever it is required to be created in the most elegant way, with the least effort required, no matter who judges you. So, what if you were willing to be a bad parent? Would the world fall in around you? No. I tell you what, being willing to be a bad parent does. Allows you to show your cleavage online. How's it getting any better than that? What being a bad parent does is, being willing to be a bad parent is being willing to make those choices that may have your child judge you. Oh, you're so mean, you're so terrible, you're so wrong. Oh, nobody else's mum's this mean. Nobody else's mum's this bad. It also allows you to create something far greater by stepping out of other people's judgments. If your mother was going to judge you as being wrong for letting your children run around outside and play in the dirt, yet allowing them to run around and outside and play in the dirt was the most expensive thing for you and your children, would you be willing to do it? To allow your children to run around and play in the dirt, even if your mother considered you a bad mother or a bad father? So, my question to you is, are you willing to be a bad parent if it creates greater for you and your child? Now notice I'm including you in that, because if you're not including yourself in your parenting, it's not going to be any fun. And if your parenting's not fun, what are you showing your kids? So, how bad can you be? You're just having a fun naturally. Thanks for joining me here at Access UTV, and I'll see you real soon with more hints, tips, and possibilities. Cheers.